Okay, I've just arrived in where the cave art is, and I have a room here. This is my room, if you can believe it. I have to be careful this doesn't become addicting. Here I have my choice of 2 beds and a nice couch, a nice chair. Here a full bath, at least it's got a tub, and there's the shower. Huh, no shower curtain, that's interesting. Everything in here, this is a primo room and it's 53 euros, so it's like about $60. But I was very, very lucky. Here's my patio, if you can believe this. This is my patio. And right there is the little cafe. So I can go over and have some water. But if you can believe it, I blew into town yesterday. The guidebooks did not tell me whether I could get a reservation, whether anyone could help me get a reservation to this cave. It's one of the only 2 caves that are open to the public. I would say within 10 or 15 minutes, Laura at the tourist center had got me a hotel in Salat because, unfortunately, Lonely Planet's so far behind, they didn't know that the youth hostel had been closed down. Then she had a reservation for me on this tour, which instead of having 20 people is now down to 12. Instead of allowing 200 a day, it's down to 160. And she then had the taxi arranged for me to pick me up this morning. And there I was picked up by Philippe. And Philippe drove me out here. He speaks excellent English. Very personable person. Said 80% of his clients are Americans, which is good to know for him. This is the east entrance to the town. There are already allusions to the prehistoric use of this area, at least a very old use of it. I'm on my way up to Grotte de Font de Gaume, which is where the cave paintings are. All around the village here, you can see that we're in a valley cut into this limestone. An ideal spot for caves, actually. This is just an interesting structure I saw walking along the side of the road. Nice home. Some of the local color apparently out for an Just looking at this limestone face, you can see it pocked, like for example that large cave in the opening in the upper left hand corner there, which are indicators of even earlier erosion out of the insides of this limestone surface. This is probably the largest RV I've seen in Europe so far. More than adequate. More than adequate for the United States. For now it's Font de Gaume.
Maybe because I picked up the email.
This is apparently the entrance to the Grotte de Font de Gaume. This is the white limestone, I guess, that's overlies a more yellow one.
Have to stand a bit further back if we want to get to the entrance. Bonjour.
Bonjour. I think that's just the sound of...
Merci. Excuse-nous.
La visite.
We have finished our tour, and I thought I would give my reflections. It seems to me the most important thing about these paintings, other than their potential to tell us what life was like and how people thought, or humans thought 14,000 years ago. But the next most important thing may be the fact that in this last century we have learned that we need to respect the abilities of the human intellect in the past, given its circumstances, and not just presume that things are caricatures of what we would consider important skills, but which of course they could not have had. That kind of intellectual arrogance has plagued us in the past. Secondly, it's interesting, a lot of the things were covered by a carbonaceous surface that either washes over it and calcifies, or perhaps does so out of the air, I don't know. Expose the drawings underneath. To what damage, if any, as a price, I don't know. But I wonder too, and he said there were also attempts to use laser and somehow digital, and I'm thinking that also there may be infrared, and that maybe someday we'll develop a almost atom by atom removal system that will be used for all kinds of discovery of what's hidden beneath antiquities like this. On some of the drawings, it was clear what they were. You could see in a couple of instances how the artist had used the topography, if you will, of the surface to describe like shoulders and maybe even a cavity to demonstrate that the bison might have been turned towards us, and so representing in essence a cavity. That was fascinating. The most fascinating thing about the paintings themselves was that when you turned off, or when the guide turned off the regular human lights, our lights, I mean, and he used a facsimile of a flame, all of a sudden the colors came much more alive. In fact, the dark of the animal was contrasted more so with the rock than it was with the regular light. Now, one of the ironies was you could almost imagine that when they were using a flame as opposed to something that lit up the whole area, that first of all they had to do their drawing portions at a time, laying it out, keeping a lot in memory. It wasn't like looking at a canvas in full, total light, fully looked at. And as they moved the light around, or this candle facsimile, you could almost sense a movement. It was almost like an form of animation in the drawings, and that I think was most fascinating. And ironically, that it would presage our idea of an animation, but that they had some character in their drawings that we don't even see unless we go back to their time to look at it the way they did. That was the most fascinating thing. From here we can get a little bit of a perspective where we are. There's the top of the plateau worn down the valley across from us. And here we can see the top of the plateau, if you will. Probably another 20 feet beyond that in height. And there, almost the bottom of the valley floor. Now, because the hotel back in Sarlat only had last night and tomorrow night available, I will spend the evening here in Eyzies, I think it's called. And that's good because there's a couple museums and I can explore this little town. I think this building here may have been the original owner of the properties. Well, original modern owner of these properties. Home or barn, not sure which.